My name is Janet Engeman. I'm a native of Centre County. I was born in Centre County Hospital in Belfont. Grew up here, went to high school, went off to college, got a degree in economics, and then worked in both the public and the private sectors. I was a labor market analyst. I did social research policy work. I also worked as a communication facilitator, and then I moved on to do work as a tech writer and formed a new tech writing group, where we then developed a new support product for a mainframe product that was using PCs as their terminals. And we had actual video of people giving them advice as to how to use the software that they were working with. So I've had public sector experience, I've had private sector experience, and I've also hired, fired, and managed people. So I think I'm bringing a unique set of tools to my position if I get onto council, because I've been out there doing so many different things. I'm very familiar with this community because, as I said, I grew up here. My parents lived here until my mother left us in 2011 and my father last year. So I've been able to watch this community change and grow and develop, and it's been a very interesting process. Well, I think this is a very interesting community. It has a lot of challenges. It's going to grow, it's going to change, it's going to develop. I'd like to have some input on how that happens. And after going to meetings for several years and being one of the 5 regular people who seem to be making comments, I thought maybe it would be better to be one of the 7 who made the decisions. So I decided to run. I consulted with some people. I said, well, I could try for the Planning Commission. I go to their meetings. I could try for council. I go to their meetings. I didn't decide to look for the Design Review Board or anything like that, or the Redevelopment Authority, but then I said I could just continue to be the gadfly I've been being all along. And I was encouraged to run for council, so I decided to do that. Well, obviously the biggie is the budget, and I'm not prepared to make statements regarding what I would do about the budget because I want to see what happens with the current council. When Kathy was on her CNET interview, she said, this is Kathy Dollar, who's a current council member, she said she was still waiting to see how things fell out. I would prefer not to see cuts in personnel or services. I would prefer to see more community involvement in things that do not require professional people to be doing them. I think there are things that the community can do to help, just like the things that Mark Hunzig is doing with the air quality issue. I don't believe that we're going to be able to get Harrisburg to do what they did for Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. So this is going to be a tough nut to crack. And once I'm on council, I'll have the cooperation and encouragement and input from all the other council people, and we'll try to work it out. Well, one of the things I've done recently is register students to vote. I spent several weeks up at the Allen Street Gate with a group of students, and we in total registered over 1,000 new voters in State College. I know some people would prefer that the students not vote. They'd rather just have them there and not interfering with what's going on in the town. But I think that there's an energy there, there's an interest there, and that there's a resource to be tapped. And I've made friends with a lot of college students, and I think that we don't want an adversarial relationship. They live on one side of College Avenue, but increasingly they live on both sides of College Avenue. And this is something that we have to accommodate to. I am in favor of comprehensive rezoning. I don't like the idea of this property here deciding that they want to make exceptions to the zoning for the area that they're working in, and that property there making exceptions to the property that they're working in. And as it turns out, as I understand it, at the Design Review Board meeting the other day, the size of the project on the corner of High Street and College Avenue has just doubled. So the council and the Planning Commission and the staff of the borough have spent a year working on plans for what's going to happen on that corner, and now everything's changed. And I think that we really need to have a standard set of plans for what's going to happen with this town. Well, one thing that in addition to the pipeline, which I worked on back in the day, and I think everybody probably knows what that is, the Columbia Gas wanting to run the 12-inch 400 PSI pipeline right down Prospect Avenue. We also have an issue of what a neighbor of mine has referred to as entrepreneurial houses. And those are houses that are never occupied by their owners, but are rented out on special weekends for parties. And there was just an article in the New York Times recently about how this is becoming a problem for many communities. If you live next door to a, quote, party house, then your property value goes down. And I think this is an issue that we need to address and figure out how to regulate. I'm not talking about if you own your house and you're going away for the weekend to visit Aunt Ma in Williamsport and you want to rent your house out for the weekend. That's not it. I'm not talking about your friends are coming in for the weekend and you've got a bunch of spare rooms and you want to have a party at your house. That's not it. It's the people who buy houses solely for the purpose of renting them out, and what you end up with is an uncontrolled hotel right in the middle of a neighborhood. And some of these are single-family homes that have been advertised as being able to be occupied by as many as 12 to 15 people. And that just doesn't work in a neighborhood. So I think that's an issue we have to address. Well, I think I'd be a good candidate because I'm motivated. I've been involved in the issues for a number of years. I don't have another job, so I've got the time, the energy, and the interest to do what has to be done to be an active and valuable member of council.